Hey, there we go. All right. How you all
There we
doing?
got it.
Got the pictures all straightened out. How's everybody doing tonight? I tell you what, that was a pretty good show last night. How you doing tonight there, Jack?
I'm doing real good. I really enjoyed that show last night, John.
So did I. It was good. I did. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I've been waiting and waiting to find out what they. Oh, I got to mute this. There we go. But yeah, I was really curious about what they were going to have. Hi, Deidre. How you doing tonight? I was watching your show last
Uh,
night. That was again a great one. I didn't think you were going to be on.
Hello, Jan.
Yep, there's Jan. Hi, Jan. Thank you so much for your synopsis. Yeah, I knew you had been what was it, kidnapped or something like that, Deidre? I know you. I heard you got kidnapped and went off for your birthday. That's really great. But I didn't think you were going to be on last night, so I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised to see you guys on last night. That was good. So we have my co-host Jack Campbell here with us tonight, and of course myself, Jeff Freeman, and we have Linda Simpson out there doing her work as always out in the chat, and of course Jan, who did us our wonderful synopsis. And there's Tom. How you doing tonight, Tom? Anne Marie, good to see you. Pam's with us. Don Brents is with us. Hi,
John
Don.
just came in.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was really pleased with the show last night. I thought it was really good. I've been waiting to find out what they saw down in the southeast corner, but we'll get to all that as we go along here. But and I tell you what, Aaron, boys, of all the theorists and all that, Aaron Hilton is sure getting a lot of airtime, isn't she?
This is like her third or fourth straight appearance, if I remember
And
correctly.
yeah, and I think she's going to be on yet again because of the fact that she has to come back. Well, we'll get to that too, but she's going to be on again one more time, I think, coming up here. Adult napped. Yes, Deidre, you were adult napped. That's great. I hope you
You
had a
need
really.
that every once in a while, Deidre.
Yep, exactly. I got to tell you, folks, I am so pleasantly surprised and so happy about the fact that I guess Jack, Linda and Jack, we've been and Jan, we've been doing this for about 6 weeks now. We've had the group up and running and doing the live shows here, and we have just today crossed over 500 members. Can you believe that? 500 right now. It's at 508, I believe. 508 members. That just blows me away. I can't believe that it has gone that way. Hi, Joe. How you doing tonight? And I got to tell you, and so I don't do this very often, but I'm having a little wine and I'm going to toast out to everybody, all of our members, our 508 members, and I appreciate all of you. And a toast out to you, a little bit of wine tonight.
All of our 508 numbers, and especially the ones that first came over with us at that
Mm-hmm.
first couple shows that believed in us.
Yeah, I know. And I thought, well, we'll get 100 or 150 or so, and we've hit 500. I just thank you, Amy. Toast. Yep. Yep. But it is. It just it's great. I'm pleasantly surprised. We were looking at it today, and I thought, oh boy, do you think we'll hit 500 before the show tonight? And we actually crossed right over that, and we keep on going. So, but that's fantastic. I really appreciate it. And and I've said this to Jack and Linda so many times, and to you guys too, this is what doing this group and this live show is all about. It's about having the members in here that love to come on and discuss the show and come on and discuss the show and come up with your ideas and your theories. I keep saying that this group of people we have is the smartest group that knows so much about Oak Island, so much more than I do. And it's just absolutely wonderful having you all here. But that's what this is all about. And I can't thank you enough for coming and joining us on this.
I think you forgot to tell Linda about the wine.
I did. Yeah. She said, wait, you didn't tell me about having wine. I know. Sorry. You can still get some. You got plenty of time. I'll be Ratchet John over here for a while. You know me. I go on and on. Hi, Sharon. How you doing tonight? Deidre, how you doing? Deidre from Oklahoma. Hi, Deidre. Welcome. Sharon's in Maine, of course. Mm-hmm. Wine time, I know. This is actually pretty good. I've actually had this for a little while, this bottle of wine. I just cracked it tonight. Just popped the cork on it tonight. But yeah, 508 members. I am just totally blown away by that. But anyway, that's really, really, really exciting. So anyway, we can jump right into it here. And as you know, we have the show opened up last night with Aaron, and as we were saying earlier, hi Jennifer, how you doing? As we were saying earlier, Erin Helton has come on, and she's been on for three in a row now. I think 3 shows in a row. Is it 3 or 4? I think 3.
That's 3, I believe it is.
Yeah, and she has come on, and she has her facts and figures right down, and she presents so very well. She's so positive about everything, and she's getting this all done. And she came out and she talked about, last night, talking about the fact that in the war room meeting there, that she was nailing down exactly where she thinks that they need to dig. And so I've got some pictures up that I want to bring up here that we can talk about this. Hi, Susan. How you doing? And she working with the I'll go ahead and bring up this picture here. Let's see here. Show and stream. There we go. All right. So we got these. The first thing she brought up with one of her in her presentation was talking about. Yeah, she does. She brings the. She is amazing. She does bring the goods. The La Formula or Formule. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. La Formule cipher. And this was the third part of her presentation, and she brought this on so that she could discuss this a little bit with the group. And that takes us to the actual cipher that somebody had come up with. And I forget exactly where they found this. Do you remember, Jack? I don't remember where they actually found this cipher.
I don't remember where they found it, but I mean, they said it was close to being what was on the original 90-foot stone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said the symbols were similar to what was on the 90-foot stone. And some of them, we see that picture of the 90-foot stone. And again, they're kind of guessing as to exactly what was on it. But, some of these symbols that you see here do look familiar to what was on the supposed 90-foot stone that I wish they would find at some point. I still can't believe that they used that thing for a leather to pound leather on.
To pound leather with, yeah.
It just blows me away. Something that significant that they would use it like that as a rock to pound things on. But Jan says it was that. Okay. Jan was saying, was that Zena's book? Yes, I believe you're right. I believe it was part of Zena's stuff. And it was found with Zena's map. Okay, thank you, Linda and Jan. I appreciate that very much. It was the cover of a book lent to Zena. Okay, Jennifer says, oh, thank you. See, that's why I love you guys, because you know all this stuff when I'm at a point where I'm not sure. But, we've got this cipher that they found, and so much goes back to Zena, doesn't it? And then, that thing was, that particular cipher was worked on by Dr. Kevin Knight and Nada Aldarab. Right. I hope I pronounced. I know I'm botching that. I'm sorry. Hi, Wanda. How you doing? Hi, Harla. Anyway, they worked on this together, and then they presented it in the war room, and I think that was season. I'm not sure. Season 6 was it? Yeah, season 6 that they came out with that, and they had ciphered that out. At one point in there, I know Charles was talking about the fact that one of the letters on the end of it, it was LEC. It looked like an LEC. They were talking about that C was the start of another word, and they were talking about chambra or chamber, possibly, and they were discussing that a little bit to see if that would maybe lead into something there a little bit more definitive. But again, it's somebody's coding of that particular thing, and just like Marty said. And this kind of goes back to my belief. And Marty said it again in last night's show. He says, if Zena's map is true, then you have to look into these things. You gotta start, taking this a little bit further. And I'm on board with that. I really, really want to believe that Zena's map is a true map. It was created in 1320, was
47.
it? 1347?
Yes.
And that it is factual, that it was created back at that time, and all those little marks were pointed out and handed down to somebody. But again, there's a little part of me that says, is that absolutely sure? But I think it
There's
is.
been a lot of debate about that map of Zenith for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sure is. And but again, like Rick and Marty have said, if you have a piece of this and you want to, you've got to explore all these options. You have to. The theorist, when you're talking with Corian Mole and Christopher Morford
Chris
and
Duhigg.
all these people, you have to look at, you have to look into this. Chris Dona, you have to check it out at least. I mean, if somebody came along and said there was aliens did it, okay, I might not look into that, but you have to look into these things because you just don't know. And if it sounds like it might be possible, you got to check it out. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, I was going to actually talk about that too. I think, I was trying to read some of what Tommy wrote quite a bit here. I'm trying to read it after the myth.
About the myth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got Facebook used this way. I know who it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was Don. So, yeah, I don't know. That's some of the things that were. Hi, Brian. How you doing? Some of those things there, I'm not so thinking about the map. But anyway, if that works out to be true, okay. But if the cipher is correct, then Aaron went on to talk about the first part here, talking about halt, do not dig. Now she is assuming from that point that they're talking about in the money pit. Now, I kind of this is one of those things where you really want to have Aaron. If she gets a chance, if she's watching tonight, maybe she can chime in a little bit and let us know. But there are so many points that I know they don't get an opportunity they don't play it on the air. I'm sure she discussed much more of this, like with the lead cross and the square, and exactly how she got all of her facts and figures on that. We got a 5-minute segment when
Right.
I'm sure she was on, talking to these guys for well over an hour. And again, same thing here. I'm sure she was talking for a long time. And some of the stuff, it leaves me wondering about some of the facts and figures here. But if the translation of this is correct, it says halt, do not, assuming that they mean do not dig down in the money pit, because it's a
trap.
It's a false trail to lead you off to somewhere else. Let's see. Oh, I'm just reading it.
Marty said that also later in that interview.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
He always thought that the money pit was not the real way to go in.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Exactly, Marty. There's been quite a few people have said that it's just a ruse. That's not.
Which I found kind of amusing, because the only other place you could really go was where he hated to go the most. That was the swamp.
Right. And if you think about that, I mean, and I'm going to jump off on a little tangent here. If you think about that, why would they set up the trap of the water flooding the flood tunnels to come in and flood that area if they were going to come back at some point and retrieve that stuff? Okay. If that was a trap, I can see where they would set that up as a ruse and say, okay, people are going to dig down our decoy. Thank you. That Don came up and said decoy. That was the word I was looking for, a decoy. So if they're going to dig down there, if it's a decoy, they're going to dig down, boom, they hit the flood, the flood waters come in. Oh, okay, we can't get to it, and we'll just leave it alone and stop looking. Okay. Or keep digging in that same spot. But again, you're going to be waylaid by the water coming in there and flooding that chamber out. Now, why would they want the treasure to get flooded out in the first place? They probably wouldn't. So that kind of leads me to believe that maybe it really was a decoy, that maybe it wasn't really the place. And I know they talked about that quite a bit on the show. So that could be. But anyway, that's what she's saying here. Halt, do not dig in the money pit. It says burrow at 40 feet with an angle of 45 degrees, the shaft of 522 feet. Now, and again, this is one of those things where I'd love to be able to talk to Aaron Helton about this, because she is taking now, if they're now she's using the point of, and I'm going to come back to this. Let's see, it was my next picture. Yeah, of 18A. Now, right here in the middle of the money pit, or not in the middle of the money pit, but where they assume that the actual, I think there was a stone here, and help me out in this, members. Was this what they called one of a drilled stone that was supposed to be here where they marked 18A? I know Erin, she may have said that on her presentation, but I missed it. What this actual stone in 18A was. But supposedly this is right in the area where the money pit is to be found directly below that. And it's right near, is that RF1? Is that what it was,
Yeah,
Jack?
it's RF1.
Yep, right near RF1. Now, so if we assume that they're talking here, halt, do not dig, and burrow at 40 feet, from that point, they're talking about from the decoy, then at an angle of 45 degrees. Now, this is one of those places, this is one of those times where I want to have Erin's explanation, because I don't really completely understand how, Linda said, yes, a drilled stone. Thank you. I really don't understand how she came up with being northwest. Now, is that 45 degrees from true north? Is that what, I don't know. What do you think, Jack? Is that what she was talking about? Is it?
It's the only thing I can think of, because it's got to be a true north and then go from there. But
Mhm.
when you're drilling at an angle and everything else, and they were not drilling at angles.
Right. You're right. So, yeah, at an angle of 45 feet. So if she's taken true north and at 45 degree, we know 90. So 45, I think
45.
that has to be what she was thinking. But again, we didn't get that. I don't think we got that explanation in the war room, presentation. But if you true north and then you take a 45 degree angle off, that would lead you to the northwest. Now, why the northwest? Why not, but again, if you're going from true north, I guess that could be the reason, right? So anyway, so you go off at 45 degrees. And again, here's another one of those things that blows me away right here. If they deciphered this map or this La Formula, if they deciphered this thing, and this thing being La Formula, that means it was supposed to be from, was it French origin, Portugal, or somewhere, over there.
Yes.
Burrow at 40 feet. Are they going to be in feet? Are they going to, is this going to be decoded into feet, or would it be meters?
It would be meters, I would think, John, because everything we've dealt with, you and me, has been in meters over in France.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I'm kind of catching back up with some of the chat here. I got the chat where I can actually see who's saying what, and I'm so happy about that, folks. Let's see. Yes, a drilled stone. Jennifer saying, I can understand that given how he behaved in his comments section of his blog. Saw people mention that Travel Channel picked up the show. Okay, I'm not sure what that's referring to. It must have been some other chat there. Don says he was thinking it was true. It was true north. That's what I'm thinking too. It has to be 45 degree angle off from true north. That has to be what she was referring to. Jennifer says maybe 45 degree from the triangle and the east-west stone line. Could be. Linda says,
You really don't, you really didn't say, give us a spot to go from on that.
Yep. Let's see. So yeah, that looks like, okay. So anyway, okay. So assuming all this is true, so you got a 45 degree angle off from where the money pit would be located, which in their best guess was RF1 or OC1. And if you take a line from true north and then a 45 degree angle there, 522 feet from that point would then take you out to, let's see, that would then take you out from 18A there, using 18A as the supposed spot of the money pit. That would take you out here to this, what's called the corridor elbow, or what she called the corridor elbow, 522 feet.
Right.
Jennifer says let's see. Was a good point. Everything see, Wanda was saying everything used to be measured in feet, yards, etc. Really? Oh, back in the old day. Okay, that's again. I love you guys for
Oh,
being.
really?
The metric, Jennifer says, the metric system wasn't in practical use until late 18th century, so metrics wouldn't have been used in the cipher. Thank you. Okay, so it would have been
That's
feet then. Okay.
that's our members.
Okay. Yeah, I know. That's why I have to rely on you guys. And I love you guys so much for having this knowledge that I don't have. Let's see. Tara, hi Tara, how you doing? Says I thought the tunnel was to be dug at a 45-degree angle down. Uh, I kind of thought that too for a moment, but I'm thinking that maybe they were talking about 45 degrees from from the money pit, you know. But we'll find out. We're going to find out if it's let's see. Don said Tom Burns. Hi, Tom. It says, wonder if it meant from a depth of 45 feet, the tunnel shaft at 45-degree angle. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, assuming that Aaron is correct on this, so 45 feet or 45-degree angle from true north from the money pit, 522 feet takes you out to what is she's calling the corridor elbow. Now, I was looking at this trying to look at this in a wider map, and I've got a bigger picture of it here. But isn't that elbow? Wouldn't that put that elbow about lot 13 or 14? What do you think, Jack? I mean,
I think 13. I think it looks like 13 to me.
and again, I'm going to have to get one of these. I got to get myself a opaque or clear overlay of the lots so that I can lay it on top of any map I want and size it to the any picture of a map that I want. That way I can see exactly where this is. But what do you
We
guys
need
think?
we need a wall blow up is what we need of it.
Yeah,
John.
I know.
We
Yeah,
need, we
exactly.
need a big wall one where we can just go and point to it and say, here
Yeah.
it is.
Yep. Because I'm thinking that, this has got to be of some significance. If Aaron is correct, and if it's 522 feet from the money pit spot, northwest at a 45-degree angle, there's got to be something here, I would think. There's got to be something on the ground here. If that's lot 13, what have we seen in lot 13 lately? Or lot 14? I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you members think out there? Do you agree with me on that? There's got to be something there. Okay, but now she took that center point. She was figuring 1,065 feet from that center point. So she figured this big circle around there to see what falls within 165 feet of that point. And of course, boom, we get cone E, which is the cone-shaped rock that is at the very bottom of Nolan's Cross. And I've always said, and I know you have too, and so has Linda, that Nolan's Cross is got to be something of more significance on this island. Why would they have put this giant cross out there that figures out exactly the arms of it on each side are exactly the same length? I mean, it works out to be exactly, the right length for being, it works out perfectly for a cross.
For the age that they put it in there to be that exact.
Exactly. So I knew it had to have more significance. So here we are talking about cone E. That falls right on cone E right there. And so 1,065 feet. Now, is there supposed to be a tunnel all the way over there, or are they just a way to figure out where it's at? I don't know if there's an actual tunnel running all the way across there. 1,000-foot tunnel. That's a long way to go. I don't know. What do you think?
That's awful far for that type of land, even too.
Yeah. Oh, I know. You're right. Exactly. Jennifer says, given that they had to go under the swamp, I wonder how deep they went. I also thought 45-degree down, not northwest. Yeah, I know. I was a little confused on that too. Initially, I was thinking the 45-degree angle down, like you were. But Aaron explained it as 45 degrees from, I guess, from true north, and then found that spot 522 feet.
You see, the thing that got me, Jeff, was that she kept saying at an angle, and we were drilling straight down. So really, would you go right through it if you were drilling down?
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, it's a good point, Jennifer. Tom says that's what Fred Nolan thought. You're exactly right. He thought that he knew that cross had some significance. It wasn't just put there for any other reason other than to mark something. It had to be there for a purpose. I'm 100% on board with that. Tom, let's see. Linda said World War II gold. Side tone was 1,000. You're right. I know. You're right. It was 1,000 feet. I guess it could be. I mean, my goodness. And like Jennifer says there, you would have to be deep enough to get underneath the swamp. Now we know the swamp water really isn't that deep in the mud. And then you found that layer of clay.
I thought Marty said that clay they were at 6 feet or something like
Yeah, it
that, if
wasn't
I
very
remember
deep.
correctly.
Yeah, it wasn't very deep. So it wouldn't take much to get underneath the swamp, really, and to travel underneath it. But even if they were, 50 feet down, I think that would be enough, or 40 feet down. Because I was saying go 40 feet down. But that's where that angle, you're right, that's where that angle of downward angle that Jennifer was talking about and a few others mentioned, because it said go down at 40 feet down and then angle at 45 degrees. So that's why I was thinking a 45-degree angle downward from there. I don't know. Yeah, maybe the swamp came later. You're right. It could have. Let's see.
We know the swamp was around 1220.
Maybe the yellow line was supposed to intersect the stone on the cross. It is close. Yeah, it does. Well, I know, and it does hit that. So I don't know. It is close. But if that's the spot, boy, I tell you what, and you mentioned this earlier, Jack. You were talking about the fact that she's putting herself out there to say this is where it's at. Go look there, and boy, I tell you, if she, I sure hope you're right. I hope you're right, Aaron. I really do. Yeah, it may not have been a swamp there. You're right, Wanda. That's very true. It may not have been a swamp there. The elbow appears to be more like lot 15 than 13. If it is lot 15, wouldn't that put it right about where the pine tar kiln is? Because north of that in lot 15 is the supposed
Serpent
serpent
Mound.
mound. That would be north of there about another, maybe, let's see, judging here, maybe another 100 feet north of there. 150 would be the serpent mound, if that is it. So that would have to be the pine tar kiln area, I'm thinking, if that's lot 15. But again, I need that overlay. I'm going to come up with it sooner. I got to get that. I'm going to work on that over the next week and see if I can get an overlay, because I want to be able to lay over these lots on here, because when this stuff comes up, I'm so curious about what lot it actually sits in. But wouldn't that be amazing if that was the pine tar kiln? Interesting. You're right. And that's what I thought initially, Linda. I was thinking it was lot 15, but I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. But you're right. It could be, because 12, Corian and Christopher Morford were looking, the marker that they had that was using Nolan's cross when they put the star pattern on top of it, anagram on top of it. That corner piece was in lot 13, wasn't it? Was that on the border between 12 and 13?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be over there. You're right. That could be lot 15. That could very well be lot 15. Huh. I'd still like to know more about the chest in the money pit. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't know. If there is one there, I don't know. But there was supposed to be a vault down there that they hit. But again, I don't know. Lot 15 touches the edge of the southeast corner of the swamp. The eastern edge of it touches the southeast corner of the swamp, doesn't it? You're right. So that would be about lot 15. Interesting. Let's see. Jennifer says the map may also have been a rendition of something from much earlier. Seems it's representation of something written to me. Lot 15 touches the edge.
Right.
Goes to the head of the elephant. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Hi, Pat. How you doing? Glad you're here. Glad you made it. So, so anyway, I'm just curious about that. And then Nolan's Cross again and hitting that spot right there at Cone E. That's and she really put herself out there to, like I said, about Aaron did about being, that being the place to dig. That's where the treasure is. Interesting.
And that spot right there gets very stream from Corrigan himself with the Mirage.
Oh, the menorah.
Yes, Menorah, excuse me.
Oh, you're right. Yes,
Because
you are.
remember that right from the Holy Land, right through France, across
That's
the
right.
ocean, and ended right there.
That's amazing because Corian and you're right. Corian and Christopher Morford talked about that. Yeah, the menorah that's on the ground in Versailles in France at the Palace of Versailles shot all the way down and right through Nolan's Cross and ends where? It ends on Cone E. Well, I mean, I'm sure the line keeps on going, but does it have any significance anywhere else? I don't know. As it goes on further to the northwest or southwest, I mean. But you're right. It ends right there. So Corian and Christopher could have nailed it right there, saying that's where it is. And that's where the menorah from Versailles hit that spot.
Because they were on earlier this year with that theory, if I remember
Mm-hmm.
correctly.
What do you think about that, Corian and Christopher? Huh? Did you guys if Aaron turns out to be right, who's going to get credit? I guess all of you, all three of you are going to have credit for that. Because you're exactly right. Good point. That's a great point, Jack. So anyway, there we go. So that's where she's saying. Now, from that point on, when she got done with that part of the discussion, they go back to Zena's map. Matching up with here and Christopher Moles. That's what, yeah, Linda's just asking the same question. That's a very, very good point. Man, I'm glad you brought that up, Jack. That's great thinking. Now we go back to Zena's map here, and we're looking at that, and the only point that doesn't really line up here is the elbow. The 522 foot elbow is not really pointed out on the map at all, but the stone that's at the end of the Nolan's Cross right there, and in a red right here. Now I think it did this not say the entrance. I don't read French, so I'm not sure exactly what that says, but I thought that was marked as the entrance or something like that. You guys and the members, what do you know about that? Does that say is that what that was saying? Is the entrance? I know there's another picture that says that, and I didn't have it, but Joe says the treasure could be in several places over the centuries if you follow Knights Templar from the beginning. I'm 100% on board with you right there.
Oh, I just got a feeling there's 3 or 4 places in that island they're going to find stuff.
Not just the island, but around the world. I think I don't think that they would have taken their entire cache of what they had left in treasure and religious artifacts, and they would have put them all in one place. I really don't believe so. I think they would have spread it around. Yeah, it's too small to read. It's too small. I can't read French. I know I can't either. The very bottom says the entrance here. Oh, the La Chenet. I can't even pronounce it right. Entrant. Oh, yeah. So what does that say above it? It says, is that a VOUTE or VOUTA? La I don't know if that's VOUTA. EN. BA something DE. I don't know. I can't figure that out. But anyway, I gotta find out what that says. I'm gonna find out and I'll put that up in a post later. But I'll try to find the picture that I know where it says. And there was one that shows that translated into English. Yeah, not everything, but obviously important. You're right. So anyway, that nails it down pretty good. So from that point there, they've derived, and Aaron had an excellent idea of coming up with, rather than going and starting to drill at the bottom of the Nolan's Cross right there. And it goes like, something that I know that Vanessa Lucido, when I had her on, when I was talking with her, she had talked about the fact that she was afraid that she was going to be the one that drilled right into or put a case on right through the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh my.
She said, if that Ark of the Covenant is in the money pit and we're putting these caissons down there, if I cut the Ark of the Covenant in half with a caisson, he says, I didn't want to be the person that did that. Well, and that's what Aaron was talking about, is that if they drill down immediately down into the base, they move the stone out of the way and start drilling right there, and they punch a hole through whatever's down there, it could damage stuff. So they got to be very, very careful with that, right? So anyway, she was saying, she had a very good point. Follow this line and this degree angle of the 522 feet and drill right there at the edge of the money pit. And that's an excellent point. And from there, they called it EJZ1, which is Aaron Judy Xena 1. I'm supposing that's what that means. And I know Linda came up and said the same thing. We when the show was on last night, Deborah from Texas, how you doing? When the show came on last night, we were watching it. And of course, I'm chatting with Jack and Linda during the show, getting our notes together. And immediately, as soon as we said that, she said it first and I said it right after. I had it written down on my notepad. Yeah. Aaron, because I was wondering, Aaron and Judy and Xena 1. But anyway, so that's what that was. And they were drilling right there. And Charles Barkhouse had said, when they was actually doing the drilling, right here's the spot, or the spot where they're at, Charles had said that nobody has ever dug over there before. Nobody has ever explored that part of the money pit before, or that edge of the edge of the money pit.
Don't you just find that amazing, Jeff, after 200 and some odd years?
Just like the Serpent Mound, I find that amazing that nobody ever spotted that before, or never really took it into, paid it any attention. Again, and I never, and the guys never even found it. I know they're busy. But if I was on that island and, I'd be covering every inch of that island that I was allowed to, that wasn't somebody, private property that was owned by somebody else. I know that, Tom Nolan's property before it became his son's property. But anyway, so here they are, they're getting over there and they're drilling. Let's see. The writing in red says okay, I'm not going to try to. Thank you, Linda. It says basically the vault to the base of the earth. The vault to the base of the earth. The vault to the base of the earth. Interesting. Tom Burns says, was watching the old documentary Linda posted today. They drilled over 200 feet through bedrock to get artifacts, yet they were stopping at 200 feet, yet they are stopping at 200 feet or bedrock. Wonder why. I agree with you. And this drilling that they did right here in the northwest corner of the money pit area, they did exactly that. This picture right here is when they were holding this was at 99. I think you said this was approximately 99 feet.
99 feet.
Yep. And they drilled through a stone and some other stuff. And they had some you've seen it. You've seen Terry Matheson takes out that big chunk and it looked like a piece of rubber. He banged it on the side of the table and it just barely bent a little bit. I'm like, what is that? I guess it was just a big hunk of clay. But it was, he thought it was a rock. At first he picked it up and he banged it on the side. He just got it bent just a little bit. I thought, what in the world? That was pretty interesting. But anyway, at 99 feet, they hit a stone, which Rick thought initially was maybe bedrock. But I guess they said, no, it's just a stone. They drilled through a stone. And that's kind of neat that thing will drill through a stone. And then
he considers backfill there also to be a possibility there also.
The what? That again?
Feet. He considered it look for backfill at 99 feet too.
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Pam says the island is not that huge. Yeah, you're right. Tara says if it's an R instead of a V, it's the route to the end of the earth. Wow, interesting. Vault to the base of the earth. Yeah, I'll have to get that. There is an English translation of that map, and I'm gonna get that, and I'll post it. I'll put it up on the post unless somebody else finds it before I do. Post it, please. Put it up there so we can see that, so we can see exactly what that says. And I apologize for not having that. But this picture here is looking at about 119 feet. At 119 feet, they hit sand. They about 4 feet of sand. They said. So they actually were going through about 4 feet of sand. And let's see here. The
And
and then
that's not what they were looking for.
and they said they didn't find a void. But again, like Tom was saying, they stopped. They stopped right there at so basically 120 feet or so. They stopped. They didn't go any further. I mean, it is true that Aaron was talking about going down 40 feet and then off at a 45-degree angle. But so are they thinking it was only going to be 40 feet down? I don't know. And again, that's one of those things that I would like to get a little more explanation from.
When would you like to have the film off the floor right now?
I know. And Aaron, I gotta talk to Aaron at some point because I need, we all need more
We
explanation.
all need information, Aaron.
Yep. Let's see. Some more people are talking about the V, whether it was a V instead of an R instead of a V. Let's see. I thought they would find a ship instead of a slipway. Yeah. Let's see. Lush. Uh-oh. Let's see. Oh, it looks like she's got a picture here. Let me see. What is this here? Oh, okay. Yeah. Linda found it. She found the picture. Let me see if I can save this. Let's see. And it does say in this picture, it does say it's La Voute and then AN base BASE D Terra TERRE, and it translates the vault in the base of the earth. The vault in the base of the earth. Now, why would it say a vault? A vault in the base of the earth. If that's all true, that looks like that might be where it is, right?
And if they say the base of the earth, 119 feet, wasn't deep enough to go to get it either.
Right, or hit that tunnel. But anyway, they were looking for the void. Yeah, they were looking for a tunnel space or a void of some sort, and they did not hit it at 120 feet, so they moved on. They moved on from that spot. So let's see. It says Le Chenet. Is that? Let me go back to that one real quick. Is that what the other one says? Oh yeah, it does. The other one says Chenet. I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Chene. He said means the oak. So the oak enter here. That's where the oak was. That's where the oak tree was from the original money pit. When the boys found it. Well, boys, they weren't boys. They were actually in their late 20s, I think, or early 30s at that point. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Anyway, so that's all interesting stuff there. So if that map is true, and Aaron has hit it here, boy, it's going to be something. Now, this picture here, I know you can't see that very well, and I apologize. I happened to notice this, and if any of you watched the rerun from last night's show, as I was going through that today, there was a shot that was taken of the TV screen while they were in the war room having their interview with Aaron and Judy. And they had their pictures there next to them, and they weren't talking about this, but this picture was on the screen, on the TV screen with them. I think this was something that Aaron was sharing with them. Now, and I know you can't see it very well, and I can barely, and I really got up there close trying to get a picture of this. And if you can see a little bit of it over here on the side right here, this is the money pit shaft. There's what she's depicting as the money pit shaft. That's this piece right here. And she's got it going 10, 20, 30, 40 feet down, and then a shaft going over to the left, and then a shaft going down, and then a shaft going all the way across to underneath the swamp, and then up to a vault. And that vault is underneath cone E, which is this purple dot right here. And she was describing where she thought it was. They didn't show this on the show. I happened to see this when they took a shot of the war room picture, and I saw that up there, and I go, wait a minute, what's that? And I paused it, and I looked at that really close, and I'm like, she's showing them basically how they would have dug this tunnel. And she is saying that there is a tunnel going from the money pit over to this Cone E where she's saying that the treasure is.
And that is a long tunnel. That
That's a
took
long
some time
tunnel.
to do.
Yeah, because you're talking 522 feet up that way and then 1,000 feet over that way. I mean, granted, like Linda said, they in the World War II gold, they went into that, they drilled all the way in there 900, almost 1,000 feet. So that's crazy. Let's see. Jennifer says you wouldn't need to go 40 feet down to figure 45 degrees. They could have said to go X feet at a 45-degree angle and dig there. So seems entering from the oak was a significance. Yeah, you're right. Reminds me of how they hide tombs in the pyramids. Tom said, yeah, yeah, you're right, Tom. You're exactly right. It does. They do that. They do this kind of stuff. That's a good point. But anyway, so I don't know how, I know you can't see that picture too well, and I apologize for that. But if you get a chance to watch the rerun, watch when they were in the war room. You'll see that this on the screen up there, and they never talked about it. But I caught that on there, and I took a picture of it to share here with you guys, but you can't see it very well. And this right here, I don't know what this, I can't see what this says. There's a shaft here going north or right straight up from the very bottom. And I can't see what it says right there, but that's going underneath the swamp. So anyway, I just thought that was neat. I'm sorry you can't see it too well, but okay. So anyway, so from that, we know that they're going to, they drilled down, they did not find a void. And so because of that, they went back to Aaron, they got her on the phone, and he says, hey, Aaron, we didn't find a void here. So we're letting you refigure this a little bit. Now, as Jack pointed out earlier, he and I were talking that they are looking at going over to, they were going off of RF1, which was the Restall Family 1. Now they're looking at going from OC1, which is just a few feet away from there to the northeast, I think it was. Yes. Now they're going to shoot from OC1 and shoot a line, I guess. So Aaron's going to refigure. So that's why I'm saying she's going to be on the show at least one more time. Because
they did say also on when they did OC1 that they got wood dating back to 1706.
Yes. Which means, and I think that Steve Guptill said that they're on the edge of, that was what he thinks or they believe is the edge of the money pit. They hit the edge of the money pit because of the dating of that wood. Thank you, Jack, for pointing that out. So if that was the edge of the money pit, they know that at least they're on the edge of it there. So figure from that point. Now the 522 feet might be off by a few feet, figuring that, but at least they
could. That land, Jeff, has shifted so much over the years that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it's not as deep as it was, or it's actually deeper because they've added the dirt on top, quite a bit of dirt. I forget, somebody said it's like 10 feet. They've added 7 to 10 feet. They've added on top of what was originally there to level it off and to make the crane pad for the caissons all stable. Yeah, Deborah says, glad you got that picture. I am too. I'll look for the rerun. If you get a chance, I have the app, so you can go watch it. I watched it again today, actually several times. To get my notes together, and I happened to see this. But if you see that, stop it and check that out. It's kind of an interesting little map there. So they're going to refigure. They're going to try it again. So hopefully next week we'll see, or when they get to drill, and hopefully they'll hit that. I sure hope they hit a void. I really do, because I want them to. I want Erin to be right. I really do. I want her to be right on this.
Well, I tell you what, if she's right, Colgan and everybody else is right too. You're all going to end up in the same spot.
Yep, Corian and Chris. I mean, they talked about when they put the pentagram on top of Nolan's cross, and they had those 2 points. And you pointed that out earlier too, Jack. You had said that they never, where they put the right on the borderline of lots 12 and 13, where they said that one point was. There was something of significance, and they went in there with the backhoe. They were digging, and they blew that hydraulic line. We've not heard another word about that.
No, there was a real big stone there they were trying to get up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there hasn't been another word said about that. Not another word. So, all right. So we'll find out more about that. So when they finally get when Erin when she gets the figures figured out for that, hopefully for next week, we'll get a chance to find out if there is a void. And I really hope they find something, because that really, I know Nolan's Cross has a lot to do with this. I'm really convinced about that. Hi, Lori. How you doing? Lori says, why did they draw that big circle around the island? That circle that Erin drew she was figuring from, and I had that. Let's see. Excuse me. I had that one picture. I passed it. Sorry. Did I pass it again? I did. Maybe I didn't go back far enough. One of the pictures. Oh, this circle here. She was trying to determine if there was a 100 or 1,065 feet from this point right here. So 522 feet up at a 45-degree angle. And then from that point, 1,065 feet from there. So she drew a circle using that as a center point to find out what that hit 165 feet away. And it hit that point on there. So that's what that was. Yeah. Thank you. And Linda answered that for her too. If you mean the one that was in his cipher. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so I went back there just to kind of show that. So anyway, so hopefully we'll hear more about that. And I do agree. Somebody said that Erin puts us, I think it was Dawn. Erin makes it logical, and she does. She really explains it so that the common uneducated I'm not a GIS person, but she does. She makes it very logical. And Joe Horsley agreed with you, Jack, that land shift is a big factor. Most definitely.
Well, the one thing that impressed me out there, it takes a lot to impress Rick and Marty.
It does. Oh, I know.
And they are really into this, right? Especially when Marty drew everything out for that thing. The look at his face was like, wow. I mean, this is real.
Yeah. He was very impressed by that, I think. Yeah, and I was too. I really was. And that's why I want her to be right. I really do. And that, like I said, that leads right back into Christopher and Corian, because they were talking about the Nolan's Cross being so significant as well.
Hopefully you can get some more information out of her to help us out here a little bit.
I'd love to. I know she can't say a word as long as, and she's on, she, now going on her 4th episode, she's going to be on. And I know she can't say a word about it, but hopefully after her portion of this is done, which if they find something there, it's not going to be done. She's going to be very an integral part of this. I'd love to be able to talk with her about this. Sharon says, Erin looks like she put a lot of work into this. Hope it's all success. I do too. Yeah, she did. She put an awful lot of work into this. And she was working with Judy, her friend Judy, and I've forgotten Judy's last name. She was working with Judy on this as well. And that's another person that I would like to, Judy was Zena's assistant. And I would love to talk to Judy too. So at some point, maybe we could get one or both of them on the show and have them explain some more to us, because I'd love to hear more about Zena and her map.
Sure, you would know so much about Zena's work.
And her book. I've got her book. It's right back there. Zena's book. Yeah. Great stuff. And that's why I should have known about that. The cipher. That's what that. Okay. So anyway, we jump on next. We go, the show took us over to, yeah, I know Judy Rudabush is in our group. Yeah, I know that. Hopefully one day we can, if nothing else, pop in and do a post if you don't want to come on the show, but I'd love to have you on the show. Yeah, isn't how it's pronounced. Spelling isn't right, but that's how it's pronounced. Okay. Yeah, I was pretty sure it was Rudabush. But next they jump over to the Serpent Mound area, and this is where we see Aaron Taylor. Aaron's over there working it and trying to get some more facts and stuff together to see what he can find out about the Serpent Mound, or the supposed Serpent Mound, something that resembles a Serpent Mound. And they've got this new young lady there with them. And this is Miriam. I'm not going to try to pronounce her Emerald.
Emerald. That's about as close as I can get to.
Hope I got that right. So Miriam, archaeologist there that's working with him, and Alex shows up over there, and they're starting to work on the that area there a little bit to see if they can find out exactly what it's all about. And something dawned on me while they were talking about this, and I wanted to bring it up. And this is just here's one of those wild things that pops into my head when I think about this, and it's dawned on me yesterday. This is a pile of stones, boulders, right? A pile of boulders that's been covered in dirt. And this pile of boulders makes this odd shape that we don't know about, exactly what shape this makes yet until we see an overhead view of it. But it makes an odd shape. Now, I thought about these boulders and I thought about which beach is this closest to? Tick tock, tick tock. I'm throwing this out to the members. Which beach is this Serpent Mound of boulders that's covered in dirt? Which beach is it closest to? Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it because I know it's a 15-second delay anyway. It's the Boulderless Beach, the North Shore. Does that, it probably has no significance whatsoever. Thank you. Lori popped up and said the Boulderless Beach. Yes, you're exactly right, Lori. And I know that 15-second delay was you probably got it right off the bat. But it's the Boulderless Beach is right just north of where that is, because when they were looking at that, and I think was it Liz that was there on last week's show? Liz was one of the ones that was standing up on there. Thank you. Oh, everybody's popping in now. I know you were all right on it because it was Geordie Cove. Yeah, exactly. But that's the Boulderless Beach. And I'm thinking that's where they got all the rocks to make this. They got it from the beach. That's why there's no boulders on the beach. What do you think? I don't know. It just hit me the other day. I'm thinking, wait a minute, that's right by the Boulderless Beach, because Liz was standing on it and she was saying it couldn't be a fortification or some kind of a thing that would be a military use because it's too far back from the beach.
Too far back. And it wasn't a property line because it was too crooked.
Right. Exactly. You're exactly right. So anyway, that just dawned on me. That was that was right there by the Boulderless Beach. And I'm thinking that's where they got the rocks to make this, from the Boulderless Beach. They got them from the beach and they dragged them up there. Let's see. Tom said the old documentary Fred Nolan refers to many piles of rocks and rock walls and seems to dismiss them. Yeah, I know. Why? I mean, were you thinking it was just some kind of I don't know. What were you
I cannot think of it.
I watched that documentary today. Actually, yesterday, I watched that documentary.
Dan Penske said that on the show last week.
He did. Yeah, Dan Henske did say that. Yeah, he saw it, but they just didn't, they were like, whatever. No significance, and they moved on.
I know. One of the things that Aaron said, it kind of got me. He said a lot rocks there do look, redeposited and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember what Marty said. Marty says, well, why didn't they fill in the middle?
Exactly. I don't know. Linda was saying, Charles says many islands in the area have boulderless areas, though. And it's just something that, and again, does it have any significance? Probably not. I think that this Serpent Mound, or we're calling it a Serpent Mound because we don't have another name for it. The Serpent Mound does mean something, but the rocks coming from the Boulderless Beach don't mean anything. I was just putting two and two together, saying, "Oh, that's probably where they got them. That's the closest area where to get a whole bunch of big boulders is right there on the beach." I don't know. Something that dawned on me. Thought I'd bring it up. Jennifer says, "Do you have a map showing these features? I get turned around in elevation in an elevator. So seeing this stuff on a map would help." Yes, I do. If you're talking about, and I'll bring it up. I've actually got toward the end of this, I got a picture of the map from the 1600. That map that Dr. Spooner was showing of the water levels on the beach. I've got that coming up here in a minute, and I'll show you what that was, where that's at. We'll cover that in just a few minutes. And I'm the same. I got to picture it. I got to see it. I got to see it on a picture so I can kind of orient myself. Linda says, in case can you see me shaking my head? Doug obviously had seen it because of the foxes video, of the foxes on video, but it didn't occur to him either. I know.
And somebody right after wondered if there was rock was smooth or jagged, which is really kind of a interesting question.
That was Tom. Tom asked that. Tom Burns. Wonder if the rock, if they're smooth or jagged. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Sharon is asking or says that I still think that it was part of a foundation taken apart for some reason. It could be. It could be. It could also have some kind of significance to it, which could lead us towards Templar, maybe. I know that's going out there on a limb, but I think I heard something about that. We'll see. We'll see if it does have any kind of significance with something or the Serpent Mound that they found in Ontario, in Keene, Ontario. But yeah, Jennifer, I'll bring that up. You're welcome. Anyway, so they're working this area here, and they're gonna get more information now. Aaron, Dr. Taylor, Aaron Taylor, archaeologist, did find some charcoal, and so he got the charcoal, and he's going to have that carbon dated, so they can find out what date it was. Now they also had a piece of the charcoal that they found, several pieces that they found down at the pine tar kiln, which is very close to this, within just a little short distance, still on lot 15. And they're getting that. And I'm so curious to find out about the dating of that. I really am. I don't know about you, Jack, but I'm really curious about the dating of that.
Danny's going to tell us who it was, whether it was
Exactly.
British or
Yeah. Yeah. If it was the British military that was doing it or goes back even further than that, I think I have a tendency to believe that the pine tar kiln, if that's truly what it is, and I think they pretty much made that determination, that was British, because they said those shoes, the oxen shoes, were British, and that was
for
right
British.
there, and it kind of led a trail going from there. And I think that, well, when we get to the end of the presentation here, I think that the southeast corner of the swamp may also have to do with British military. But again, don't know
Yeah,
that.
because Carbon did say these were British for winter and summer for the oxen shoes. So
Right.
they were
Yeah.
working there year round.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Jennifer said it looked like something may have been painted on it in the Fox vids. Yeah, deposited on YouTube. Doug put on YouTube. Could be. I'd like to see that. If you can grab that and put that on the post it so we can get a look at that. Tara says they are similar to Aaron's rocks that mark the point on Zena's map. The anchors. These ones here in the. I don't think so. I don't think. I don't know. Well, that's a good point. I don't know if this is pointed out on Zena's map at all. I don't think so. But I did notice that northern stone, the northern anchor, was on Zena's map was more inland than they found on when they. And I know the beach has changed over the years, over the centuries. The beach is actually smaller. It went out further. So maybe where the stone was that they were actually marking, it was actually in the woods at one point. Um, so that could be, but I don't know. I'm kind of curious about that too. If this was shown out there. Let's see. Don, hey Don, how you doing? Serpent Mound in Ontario are only 5 miles from where I am now. Really?
Ooh,
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even know, and I lived in northern Michigan, Sault Ste. Marie area, which is like right across the water, right across the bridge from Sault, Ontario. But I never knew about that serpent. I knew about the one in Ohio, but I never knew about the one up there. And I don't know where in Ontario. Ontario is a big province. I know that, and it could be anywhere in there. But interesting. Brian Walters, question: why is there not a share opinion on your page here on Facebook? I don't know what you mean. Share opinion. Us Brits get everywhere. Joe Horsey says us Brits get everywhere. Yeah, you do.
and you sure do.
Oh, okay. Jennifer says she's going to put up a post to a link to that channel. That's good. Thank you. Yeah, we are a private group. You're right. Thank you, Linda, for answering that question. Nothing is shareable unless it's in a public group. Yep. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, it's south of. Oh, Don is saying it's the mound in Ontario, south of Keene, Ontario.
King.
Keene, 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 Ontario. Yeah.
It's a
Could you run
terrace.
over? Oh yeah, Tom Burns is asking Don. He says, replying to Don, "Can you run over and take a picture for us?" Yeah, why not? Take some pictures for us and put them up on the post. You're that close. They might have snow on them right now. You won't be able to see much, but I don't know. You got snow on the ground up there, Don?
Last time I talked to Don, I thought he had 11 or 12 inches of snow up there
Mhm.
already.
We had snow here. It just melted yesterday. We have had 3 storms here, and they've each dropped about 5 to 6 inches on us, and they've each time it's came and then melted. So anyway, so let's move on here. So okay, so they got there. They were working on the Serpent Mound, and I just took a picture. This is the bag that he put the charcoal sample in. I just thought it was. It's dark now. Yeah, don't mean now. Tomorrow's fine. Go out there first thing in the morning. This is the bag that he put the charcoal sample in. I just thought it was neat because it said August 17th. So that was August 17th when they were working that day on the, we know that they move around a lot with the whole, pictures that they're showing on the show. Earlier on in earlier seasons, you see one picture has leaves on the trees, and the next scene segment they're doing, there's lots of leaves on the trees. And then, so we know that they pick, they pick and choose their scenes. Sharon says so many came from Britain in the 1600s. Yep. Yeah. And that's very clear that they've been around. We may have an inch. Oh, that's not too bad. You can get a picture. Okay. So anyway, they got done with the Serpent Mound. The next segment went on and talked about the coin. And this coin that that they found I was very interested in it, that they talked, and they had okay, here I'm going to botch one of these. This gentleman's name was Sandy Campbell. It was on the show, and they brought it to him, and they brought him in to take a look at it. Holy smokes. Yeah. They brought him in, and he is a new, I was going to have trouble with it. A numismatist, numismatist, numismatist. Okay. I had it earlier. I was doing it pretty good earlier. Now I'm blowing it. Yeah. I love Gary's reaction to those too. Numismatist. Thank you, Linda. She does. Isn't she wonderful? She's helping me pronounce it. Numismatist. Thank you. Numismatist. So Sandy Campbell came out and he looked at the coin, and he said right away, "Oh, this is a coin expert." Yes, thank you. Tom said, "Just call him a coin expert." The coin expert guy, Sandy Campbell, came out and he looked at the coin. He said, "Yeah, it's a cash coin." But you know what blew me away was the dating of this thing. What? Let's see. What did he say? He said it was a Chinese cash coin as much as 11, 12, or 1,300 years old. Made of copper. And he dated it could be somewhere as much as 900 AD. Actually, he went back a little further than that. And I thought, obviously, I don't think, and like he was saying on there that the Chinese kept themselves, things to them in their own general area. They didn't branch out all over the world that we know of. But what do you think about that coin, Jack? I was thinking that it had to be somebody's pocket coin, like he was saying on the show.
I think it had to be a pocket coin, and call me wrong, but it points me toward that Serpent Mound. It seems to point me toward that Serpent Mound. It was in that general area that it was found.
Is that where they found it?
Lot 15.
15. You're right. I forgot. I'll have to look back in my notes, but I think you're exactly right.
I think they found it at lot 15 when they found shoes and everything.
I'm looking back through my notes.
Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong too, Jeff.
I don't remember. Do you guys remember where they found the coin at? That's very interesting. But anyway, this thing could go back that day, and I think it had to be. See, Brian says the number of coins have been found on Oak Island and many more recent through the use of metal detectors. Two of the oldest are believed to be 11 Maravedis, dated 1598, found by a student on the beach at Smith's Cove in 1965, and a similar Maravetti. Yeah, Pam says a good luck. Yeah, it was somebody's pocket, and I've got stuff. I've got things like this that I carry around in my pocket.
Wanda says lot 15 by a tree.
Okay. Yes, that's right. It was lot 15. So you're exactly right, Jack. Thank you. Lot 15 by the tree. Yeah. Deborah says the same thing. Lot 15. What exactly happened in lot 15 to make it so very popular? Sharon says, yeah, I know, huh? Lots of things going on in lot 15. You got the pine tar, you got the Serpent Mound that was found there. The oxygen fuse. A lot of stuff found there. That's very, very interesting. That lot 15, you're right. Lot 15 is a very, very popular place. Defies explanation if you're trying to connect Templars to or Bacon. Yeah, and I think this was just something that somebody, like he said, I think Sandy Campbell said it on the show, is that he thinks it was just something somebody carried around in their pocket as a souvenir.
Or a necklace or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think the Chinese were there back in 900 AD. So that would be interesting, but I don't believe so. Yeah, it would be interesting. But anyway, so yeah, I believe that too. And he said it was made out of copper, which he said copper does corrode, and that's why it's in such poor shape now. And that's why he said he was looking at the fact that the edge of it was so thin, and you can see that on this picture. You can see where it steps down and is very thin along the edge. Okay, Jennifer said she just posted a link to Doug Crowell's channel. Thank you. So yeah, so anyway, it's you got that little edge all the way around it there. So very, very interesting. But again, it's one of those little things that makes you scratch your head, wondering how in the heck did it ever get there. Let's see. And there he is there. There's the new I have to look at it. Numismatist, Sandy Campbell.
Sandy Campbell. I'm going to go with it that way, Jeff. I'm not going to.
The coin expert.
The coin expert. There you go.
The coin expert. Let's see. I was hoping it was a Viking related. I know. I was hoping it was. Yeah, me too. I was hoping it had some kind of more significance than the fact that it was somebody's souvenir in their pocket or wore around their neck or something like that. Who knows? And I've actually got one. And I know somebody was mentioning that to me today, and I'm sorry I forgot that I was chatting with one of our members today, and she had said that she has one, and I have one too. It's in one of I got coin collections around here, which is why the country's running out of coins, because I got them all at my house. But I've actually got a Chinese coin here with the square hole in the center of it. So, and I don't know what, it's not that old. It's not near like this, but I've got one myself. So just shows how, John says, just shows how deeply they have looked in for treasure all the way to China.
A lot of digging.
A lot of digging all the way to China. Dig all the way to China. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, it's on the group page now. Yeah, that's some metal detector, huh? To pick up all the way to China. That's quite a metal detector right there, baby. I'm telling you, maybe that's the that 9,500. You got the 9,000 out there, 6,000. Maybe that's a 9,000. Look all the way to China. That's pretty funny. Okay, then we finally get to the point of the show, and they kind of went, different segments of it, and they were looking around with Gary and Peter Finetti. And they were looking over there. They drained the swamp, and fortunately, they didn't make us sit through the draining of the swamp. And on the show, matter of fact, one scene it's full of water, and the next scene they're over there looking around. It's all empty already. They figured out how to do that pretty quickly. And
one thing I didn't see there, I didn't see any wood where they had to walk on either.
No, they didn't have planks down. Well, they were staying pretty close to the edge of the road right there where it was relatively dry. If you know, there was some boards out a little deeper in the mud, but they were staying kind of close to the edge there. And they even mentioned that on the show that they were staying over there. Yeah, when we are finished, you can all watch Doug's Fox videos. Yeah. Trick camera. So they were anyway. They're going along over here, and this is where Dr. Spooner in this picture here by Linda that she got for me shows where the square, what they're calling a possibly another paved roadway that Dr. Spooner had mapped out, 20 feet wide, 70 feet long. Wasn't that what it was, Jack?
Yeah, and it went quite a ways. I
Yep.
mean,
And I think it spans all the way from the road that's there now, all the way over to the woods area at a diagonal across here. This area, but that's where they were looking, and they're going along, and they found, here's a picture. I just snapped this one. Actually, Linda got this one. It's Peter, and it shows Laird standing there. But they're all over there in that southeast corner, and there's the spike that they found. Now we know. Now you look at these spikes, you're going, spikes. We've seen 1,000 spikes. We don't need to see spikes anymore. But that does have significance. But it was because it was used and possibly used in the construction of what they're finding, or what we're about to see, what they found in that area. So that was interesting find there. And they're, hopefully they can get Carmen. Carmen will obviously take a look at this and give them some sort of a date on it. But I think he was, wasn't,
Gary said 1700s, if I
yeah,
remember
thank you.
correctly.
1700. Yep. I think you're right. So then they get over and they pick up some more metal, and, as it goes on, and Peter starts digging, and lo and behold, they hit some wood down there. Wanda says, I wonder if that's related to Tony Sampson, Dove. Yes. And I'm getting to that too. And I'm going to show that here in just a second. I think you're exactly right, Wanda. I believe you are correct. They found this piece of wood here. And then as they start to, and you can see right there, that is hand hewn. It's kind of rounded on one end and squared off on the other. Now, this takes me back to a picture, and we've all seen it watching this show. They've shown it many times, and they show a picture of Fred Nolan pulling a long piece of log about that big around out of the water. And I keep wondering to myself when I see that, where was he when he was pulling that out of the water? Do you have any idea, Jack?
I have no idea.
I don't either. And I was wondering, you see that picture, and you see him down there, and he's pulling out this piece.
And it's an old picture because it's in black and white. I mean,
yeah, and it's about 4 feet long or whatever, this piece of wood that he pulls up out of the water. And it reminded me of this because if I remember right, it was kind of cut to a somewhat of a point, and some of the ones that were down in here, and I'll show in the next picture, look like they were kind of cut to a point, and it looks like that one might be too, right where his foot is there, or that whatever that is in the bottom left corner or bottom right corner. It looks like it's tapering down right there to a point, maybe. So, and that kind of looks like what Fred Nolan pulled out of there. Let's see. I'm going to scroll back here and look and see. Let's see. Linda's answering. I think so. He pushing Ian Spooner around. Yeah. Wonder if Jennifer said, wonder if there was a large pier, an offshoot, or for a boat to dock. Yep. Part of a wharf in the swamp. At the swamp, it was a marker.
And an interesting thing about that, Jeff, is that if you took that and went straight out into the water, that's about where they found that stoneway thing right there they found last week.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting ready to. Tom says I posted a version of this earlier with some pics. A little devil's advocate here. The existence of a swiftway and rock filled crib of wharfs are part of the overall puzzle, but we still need to be cognizant of these items that were not unique to Oak Island. Let's see. Jennifer says, I got the impression it was up near the peninsula or north of that. Oh, you mean where Fred was taking out that piece of wood? Yeah, I kind of thought that's what I thought too.
By his house, but you're talking?
Yeah, when he pulled that piece of wood out of the water, I was initially, when I saw that scene, this was before seeing this, I was thinking the same thing, that it was up by that little peninsula that I think he had made that little peninsula going out into the swamp. They were talking about him bulldozing some dirt out there, and I think he made that little peninsula because that was his property.
Little wharf like to go out and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking, yeah, he may have been pulling it up out of there. Land server marker. I don't know. But anyway.
Rick had mentioned land server marker, and they were in the swamp before and pulling out things.
Yeah, Yep, Fred was at the swamp. Yeah, he was at the swamp, but I was wondering what part of the swamp was he? And I was thinking, man, if he was over here by this area, which he could have been because this is very close to the edge of the actual where the water was, because you can see the vegetation right there. That's right on the edge, and you can see where they were standing in that one picture. They're standing on dry ground. Right there, they're standing on dry ground looking at the hole that's right there in front of them. So they're on the very tip of the corner there, or very corner of the southeast corner of the swamp. So it's very close to the edge there. And that could have been where Fred was pulling a piece of wood up. I don't know. Just something that occurred to me, and I was just kind of wondering about that. So there's that structure that they're finding underneath when they dig this up. And we know, because when we saw the drilling down when Maddie Blake was out there, that they had really dug into this area here there was an excavator sitting there, and they really got in there and dug it up. So we're going to find out what this is. I'm kind of thinking a wharf or a slipway. I don't think it's a tunnel entrance. I really want it to be a tunnel entrance. Believe me, a tunnel entrance or a shaft, which is what Gary was saying. I really wanted it to be that, but I've got a feeling it isn't. I got a feeling it's a slipway or a wharf.
I think somewhere where they can dock and unload stuff and everything else.
Yep. The wood he took out reminded me of that long piece that Rick, pulled out earlier in an earlier season. Oh, you're talking about that big plank? That was a big flat plank, I think. Or is that what you were talking about? Or the shorter pieces that Rick found? Yeah, they did. They found some shorter pieces that were like short, and they were kind of pointy on one end, and they were, yay big around, but they were shorter. They did have a name for them.
Yes, it was some kind of a marker for a surveyor marker. That's what it was.
Well, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. That may have been. I don't know. That may have been. But this is really interesting to me. I'm very curious about. Couldn't be a slipway. Do you see a boulder? I don't know. We're going to find out what it is. But the interesting thing about this, and because it has those two runners, that's why I think what their survey stakes. Thank you, Tom Burns said a survey stakes. The fact that you got these two runners. Now, those two runners, and Rick had said on the show, those two runners are heading off into the ocean, and they're pointing in the direction of what I'm going to show you in the next couple pictures here. When Gary said the entrance was a tunnel, this is Brian. When Gary said it was an entrance, I was, oh my God, that could be great. Could have been great. I know. I did too. I was so on board with that being a tunnel. I really was. I really wanted it to be a tunnel. The 18-foot piece I thought was ship decking. Yeah, that was flat. That was more of a board rather than a log.
4 or 5 years ago, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I don't think did they ever date that thing? I don't think they ever dated that.
No, there were no nails in it or anything either, if I remember.
No, he ran the metal detector over it. There was no nails in it, but it was a flat board. It was about it was about 6 inches wide and I don't know, 12 feet long. The thing was a good 12 feet long. 18 foot. Oh, it was 18 foot. Jennifer said it was 18 foot long. But anyway, so we're going to get to see in the coming episodes, we're going to get to see what this really was, or what this is, as they continue to excavate it. And then Rick's that's a picture of Rick's hand right there, and he's pointing to this piece sticking up here in the middle. And he said something about a tree grew up, and he goes, it's been here a long time because this tree grew up through it. I don't know if that's really a tree that grew up through it or something else, but he seemed to think that was a tree that grew up through there. And so he was speculating that it had been there a really long time. Well, we can tell it's probably been there a really long time. By the fact, and like you had said earlier, Jack, it was notched. So it was fitted together. Those aren't just boards laying or logs laying together. They were actually notched out and laid in there. And that spike that Gary found, there's spikes in there because he went back over it with his little close-in detector and actually pointed out that there was spikes holding that stuff together, which makes total sense. You're cribbing.
Blair said slipway also, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he did. That's what he was saying. It reminds me of this slipway that's over in Smith's Cove. And you're exactly right. But we're going to find out. We're going to see what there is more to that. Tom Burns said, I wonder how far it was from the shore 200 years ago. or 400 years ago. Yeah, they were not. Brian says they were notched together. Jennifer says, I was thinking the piece that Fred found was similar to that. It was similar to these pieces here. It was round. If I remember right, I'll see if I can capture that video and I'll put it up because it's on that episode. It's in that documentary, I think.
Round and tapered, if I remember.
Yeah,
Tapered.
I thought it was round and tapered that he pulled up out of there. Notch, slipway or cribbing equals slipway or cribbing. Yeah. Yep. They were notched together and nailed, notched, and then had a spike driven through them to hold them together. So anyway, he was talking about this little tree that grew up out of it. Now here, I grabbed this picture here because I wanted to show, if you can see where my mouse is, right in almost in the dead center of the picture, there's a pine tree right there. That's where they're standing. That's where they found this. Now the little paved roadway that we're going to see coming up in future episodes that we know has been found because we saw it from the aerial drone footage that came out. But that paved roadway is a little bit back from the actual corner of the southeast corner of the swamp. It's back a little bit further. Right about in here where my mouse is where that paved roadway is of stone. Where they're at is right over here by this pine tree. And they're finding that wharf right there, okay, or slipway or whatever. I want it to be a tunnel entrance. So, yeah, well, Wanda says, to me, it looks too small for a slipway. You're right. It does actually look a little small for that. But let me point this out to you here. So knowing that right off the corner of the swamp right there, if it's a slipway and the angle of those long posts that were taken off heading towards the water that Rick had said, it's leading out that way, which he meant out into the ocean. This next picture is one of those maps that Dr. Spooner had. And I showed this to you last week, but right here in this spot, right in here is where that southeast corner of the swamp is. And right here, if you look out here, if that slipway runs along, let's say you see this little ledge out here in the water. Now, knowing that the water level was down, well, he said what, a 1 foot for every century? So if you go back, 300 years, it'd be down 3 feet. If you go back 400 years, 4 feet. So this ledge right here, I'm thinking, I could be wrong, but I'm thinking it's almost a direct line from the slipway, the angle of the slipway that they're calling a slipway, or what they think might be a slipway. I think it's leading right down that line. Now, if they were to bring, and I was thinking about this earlier today, if they're bringing in a galleon or a bigger ship, they're probably not going to be able to get all the way up in there. I know that the water displacement, the depth of that schooner, our galleon, we were talking about what, 12 feet? I think we said we were speculating about 12 feet. If they offload stuff onto their shore boats, what do you want to call them? The boats that go ashore? Huh?
A barge?
A barge, or those boats that they would carry to go to shore in. They would anchor the big ship out, and then they get off onto the little skiff or whatever you want to call it and go into the island on it.
Almost like a lifeboat today.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lifeboat. They would put cargo down into that, and then they would run that up to the beach. Now that could go right up onto the slipway and then be able to be unloaded onto the paved roadway, which is right on the other side of the slipway, right? I mean, of course I'm just speculating here. I don't know for a fact if that's the case, but it sure seems like this would lead right out onto that ledge. We're going to find a dinghy. Yeah, it could be a dinghy. I guess
the person dinghy is me, Jeff.
Yeah, it could be called a dinghy. Thank you, Linda. Like Pam says, it all lines up. It does. It does line up. And looking at this picture here, it does line up. Now, something else, dory. Tom Burns said a dory. Are you calling that little boat a dory? I don't know. I've not heard that before. Tom also said, could the paved roadway be what is left of the rock-filled crib wharf? Could be. You could be right. Don't know. Yep, looks too small to be a slipway, and Anne Marie says, right. Yep. So we're going to find out. Obviously, they're going to do some more excavating on it, and I'm just speculating about what that is. But boy, it just sure seems like it adds up, doesn't it? If that is the right angle, and it does look like to me, and I watched that over and over again, and I was trying to get a good look at. I was going to take a picture of it and show you guys that from that area where they were standing around talking about this supposedly slipway. I was trying to get a look out into the ocean because a camera guy was standing what is facing the ocean, but I never got a clear picture of it because I wanted to see just where the orientation was going out into the ocean to see if it did line up. I don't know. A ship would be too large to dock near. Need a smaller craft to go in.
Right.
That's my thinking, Pam. That's my thinking exactly. They're going to put a chest of gold or whatever. They're going to put it into the dinghy or the dory, if that's what that means, and that's going to go into shore. And yes, Don, the ox shoes. That is where that path that Gary Drayton was talking about, and Jack, when they were finding those oxen shoes. Remember that, Jack?
Yeah, and maybe they were hauling it. Remember last year they went to that fort up there,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they had that big wagon with the big wheels on it. Maybe that's what
Yeah,
they were pulling.
it could be, and drawn by the oxen. So
Right.
whatever they were taking in there, whether it was pitch from the pine tar kiln, whether it was tar that they were taking out and repairing ships, I don't know. We may never know the answer to that. Or were they actually offloading cargo? Tom Burns says Dory is a large rowboat. Okay, thank you, Tom. I did not know that. Thank you very much for that information. Wanda says, okay, loading a small boat in 30 feet of water, lose some treasure, and slip in on a slipway. No wonder Tony's detector went off. Yep.
Yeah,
You could be right.
it did go off.
Yeah, it did. So we're going to find out a lot more about this. Now, again, does it mean Templars? Does it mean British military? Possibly.
Maybe
I mean, if you think
to be
about the
determined.
offshoots, huh?
To be determined.
Be determined. Exactly. I know. And it just, but you get all this stuff. Yeah, I like that. Just where who said this? Tom Brent said, I like that. He said that's where from the trail they found with the ox shoes. Yes, that's exactly right. That's what I mean. That's where it was leading down to this point in the swamp from the pine tar kiln or from the money pit. So we're transporting something back and forth. It all adds up, doesn't it? I mean, it really does seem like it adds up, but we'll find out more as we go along. All right, we're getting a long show here. It's been an hour and a half, and I'm loving what you guys are talking about. I want to show one more thing, and this is one of those little crazy ideas that I have. And I want to relate to what you guys are talking about too. If you have more questions and stuff, please keep bringing them for Jack and I, or if you have anything else you want to bring up too. I have one more thing I want to show you. Again, we're going to find out more about this slipway, if it is a slipway. I really want it to be a tunnel entrance, but I don't think it is. But anyway, it just seems like it all adds up with the trail and the wharf and the land, the ledge that's going out there. It all seems to add up. Now, I'm gonna show this. I was talking about this with Linda and Jack earlier. I just reading what Don says here. Yes, and it has been transported on that trail year round. You're right, because they had summer oxen shoes and winter oxen shoes. Yeah. Jack was talking to me about that earlier. That's exactly what he was saying. So it was a year round trail. Are we going to talk about Beyond? Yeah, I'll talk about that too. I'll go as long as you guys want. If you want to keep going, I'll definitely talk about Beyond as well, because I really liked that show last night. But I want to show one more thing about the island, and then we'll move on. One more thing I want to show. Okay, the lead cross. Every time I look at this lead cross, and I think that the carving on the prison wall in France had this on it as well. If we could, and I don't have one of those pictures handy right now, but I believe it had this as well. But something I wanted to point out on this was, do you see this right here? Now, every time I look at this, my eyes go right to this thing. It's this long ridged area that goes all the way down to the bottom of the cross. I've been thinking about this, and I just keep telling myself this has some significance. I don't know what, but I got thinking about this yesterday when Erin was talking about Nolan's Cross, and she was talking about the cone E, which is the cone shaped stone at the foot of the cross. You see this long line right here. This line was not happenstance, it was put there for a reason. Okay. And right here at the bottom, the next picture, what does that look like to you? I know what it looks like to me, but what does it look like to you? So here you have this long ridge that stands up. It's a ridge that stands up on this on the cross. It goes all the way down to the bottom. What does that look like right here at the very bottom of it? What does that look like to you? I'm going to wait for 15 seconds because I know we got a 15-second delay here for the chat, but I want to see what people think about this. And this is something that I've often looked at this. And then when I saw Aaron Helton's description of the foot at the end of the cross, yeah, that's one thing. Deborah says, like to know what the hand at the foot of the cross is too. I think it's a hand. Now, here's this crazy thing that hit me. Jan says the same thing. I think it's a line carved out, but no hand. Okay, you could be right. I don't know. It just looks like right here is a thumb. And that's why I keep thinking it's a hand, because it looks like a thumb right there, and it looks like fingers down here at the bottom, and this goes around the other edge of the hand. It looks like a hand. Thank you, Deborah. I think so too. And Linda says she thinks it's a hand.
And I came right back to you and says it's right from where the Mariah goes right through the Mariah and goes right to that spot right there at Nolan's Cross.
Exactly. The menorah. Yes. And it goes right down through. And I see a thumb. Yes, I do too. I see a thumb. And I'm looking at that. And now if you lay that down on top of Nolan's Cross, that hand is saying, dig here. I know it's crazy. I know it's absolutely crazy. But that hand is saying, dig here.
Yeah, because I remember I told you, I think earlier tonight, that's the Mariah, where the
Menorah.
Mariah comes right into there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you did. And you brought that up earlier when we were talking about, you said, yeah, you go from the menorah in Versailles, zip all the way down, goes right to Nolan's Cross, ends. Where does it end? It ends at the foot of the cross, which is where the hand is saying, dig here. Solved. Maybe I should have a little more wine and then I'll be able to figure all this stuff out. Anyway, just something that occurred to me. I always thought that looked like a hand. And I always thought, what in the world would there be a hand on there? It's pointing to the treasure. Thank you, Deborah. It's pointing to where the treasure is. Dig here. Okay. Something to think about. A shovel. Yes, Pam. I kind of thought about that too. It could be a shovel. It could be a picture of a shovel. Dig here.
That's our members. They had come up with the best stuff for us, Jeff.
Rick and Marty, I'm telling you. That's been right there in front of your face the whole time, telling you where to dig. Craig. Anyway, all right, enough of that. So we'll discuss anything you guys want to talk about. I did enjoy the show last night, and again, going back to Beyond. I'm going to turn off the pictures here. Bear with me while I really dislike the way this Be Live. You have to manipulate this thing, but let me turn this off. And then I got to flip it. There we go. And get me and Jack back to proper size. The Beyond show last night, and again, going back to the Beyond show, I was looking at it as another treasure hunting show like Oak Island, in the same theme of Oak Island, where we would get to see a lot of digging and a lot of, tunneling and core samples and all this kind of stuff. That's what I thought initially. But then when it got going and I looked at it, I was a little dissatisfied at first because I was thinking, this ain't treasure hunting. It's a historical show. I like it now because I changed the way I'm looking at it. It's not set up to be this. It's not set up to be like Oak Island. It really isn't. It's set up to be like a show about, the history, talking about, the history of explaining to us about the history of things. So if you look at it with that mindset, it's a pretty good show. And it's like all the other shows that Prometheus does on the History Channel, where, Ancient Aliens and all those, where you get a lot of explanation about things. Now,
One thing I liked about it, Jeff, about Strelo, Strelo last four episodes, they've kept on one thing and they've stayed with it the whole way through.
mhm,
I mean, when they went out on Lake Michigan,
mhm,
they stayed with it the whole time. They didn't try to deviate to something else, to another topic or anything else.
right.
And another thing I learned is I didn't ever knew there was so much gold in government land off of this last couple episodes that we had.
Yeah, yeah. The one, and that's why I liked, like Tom Burns says, it's more of a history channel or a history lesson. It is, and if you think about it in that mindset, it's a good show. It really is. And the fact that Rick and Marty and Maddie Blake are involved in it, and Gary Drayton are involved in it, makes it all that much better for me, because you still get the analyst, just like you would on any of the other shows. Again, Ancient Aliens, where they got the people that are, Sukalos and all those guys, sitting in a chair, telling us, well, about this, giving us the explanation about a particular thing. That's the way this is set up. And if you look at it in that respect, I think you'll enjoy it. And I do. The thing I liked about last night's show is that, and I was telling Linda this, and she's talking about it in the chat right here, is that it's looking at my stomping grounds. I mean, Michigan, and my sister will contest to this, but it's talking about, Michigan, which, of course, I'm being from Michigan and I'm a Youper. I like that stuff. And I'm looking at pictures of things that, I can relate to. So I really liked last night's, and it's talking about the, now I was not completely aware of that particular island that they were talking about last night. Let's see. Did you know where Lake Michigan was 90% frozen over? Yeah.
Yeah.
2013, 2014. I know quite a few years, and Lake Superior freezes over quite a bit too. And that's when the lake effect snow stops. But I really enjoyed that show last night, talking about that. And that was talking about gold that was thrown over the side. They said they talked about some gold, and I guess it was not treasure, but actually payroll. Is that what it was, Jack? Was payroll?
Yeah, payroll. Thing I like, I didn't grow up there, but I grew up around St. Ignace and Sioux Locks, and was up around there a lot on vacation with my parents when I was a kid. So I could
Mhm.
relate to that show.
Yeah,
Just
I know.
by, hey, I've been in that area before.
Yeah, I know. Poverty Island. Thank you, Linda. It was Poverty Island they were talking about.
And I'm
Yeah,
just
I
glad
know.
you
Me
weren't
too.
in Lake Ontario because that's awful cold.
They all are very cold. Lake
They're all cold,
Superior.
but I think that Ontario is the deepest, if I remember correctly.
Actually, I think Superior is the deepest. I believe
Is it?
so. It's got some points out toward off the Keweenaw Peninsula and up in that area that are really, really deep. And that's why one of the reasons why it's so daggone cold, but it is freezing cold. I remember going in there as a kid and walking in there just thinking I was going to go swimming, and I got in about up to my knees, and it hurt. It actually hurt. It was so cold. But anyway, let's see. Let's see. I'm looking at. Let's see. Let's say more history lesson. I'm rolling back on the chat here. No flashbacks. Let's see. I can watch the Beyond show in February in Germany. I'm very. This was Anne Marie. I'm very interested in history, but this show is too late for me. Yeah, it does. It is on very late. I know. Have you ever heard of a Wall of Silver? I have not. Uh, um, Amy, I have not. I've not heard of that before, and I was pretty surprised by that when I heard about it on there. The Wall of Silver. I never knew anything about that.
I,
I knew there was silver mining in the area, but I never heard of a wall of silver.
I know I've got a Facebook user here. I'd like to know how many remote islands. There are a bunch of remote islands there that aren't occupied whatsoever up in that area.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah, there
whole
are.
lot.
Yep. Let's see. Sharon says it was great. It was great. Lived in Michigan for 7 years, and the Great Lakes are fantastic. And up around Mackinac Island, you can imagine. You can see Mackinac Island. You can imagine the ships lost. There are a lot of shipwrecks uh,
Oh,
in the Great Lakes. A lot of them. And well, the Edmund Fitzgerald, we know about that one going down just off the Whitefish Point. And I actually have a picture. It's not in here, but I actually have a picture that was drawn by an Indian artist. That it's a his take on it's a ghost of the Edmund Fitzgerald still sailing the Great Lakes. Really a cool picture that I like a lot. Let's see. Jennifer says,
Wanda doesn't like snakes.
"Huh?
Wanda doesn't like snakes.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he talked
I
about
don't
all
like
those snakes
snakes.
and that seems odd to me. That really does seem odd to me. All those snakes. I never heard of that. And there are snakes in Michigan, but I don't know about as big as he was talking about. That really kind of
He was
yeah,
he
no
was
snakes.
he had his hand out there around quite a ways around there.
Yeah, he said there were snakes on it. I don't know. He's been on that island. I don't know. He said he was on there when he was younger. Let's see. Sharon, I was trying to read some of this. Sharon said it was great. Lived in Michigan for. Oh, I read that one already. Let's see. I thought not since they salted it with gold painted bricks. Oh, I know. Don't talk about that. Yeah, that show just. I didn't like what Prometheus pulled on that one at all. That was very very uncool in my opinion. What Prometheus did with those bricks. They knew that they were wrong. They weren't, and they led us to believe it. Let's see. A straight line from Door County and Washington Island. Pam says. Um, let's see. I wondered about that, but they didn't say they were stopping, so I was curious. Not Googled it yet. Yeah, that finished it. Yeah, I think that did. I think that did finish it. Don't like snakes. Yep. Lived in Michigan, 1975, when the Fitzgerald sank. Did you really? Wow, very interesting. 1975. Where was I in 1975? Was I in Michigan at that point? No, I don't believe I was. I was living in Ohio at that point. I did move around quite a bit. I'm from Michigan and went back there many times and lived again, always in the UP. Let's see.
And those Great Lakes could really blow up some storms in a hurry too.
Yep, Copper Harbor. Yeah, Ann's talking about the Copper Harbor Museum in the UP, the Shipwreck Museum. Yep, really cool place. I have been there. The Christmas tree ship sinking in 1912 on the way to Chicago carrying Christmas trees. All on board perished. Yep. And that's the thing. But I'm very curious about that. When they showed on the episode about those, they chained those boxes together so they could go back and find them. But you got to figure the one area that they were looking in last night, they were looking in the one spot that had the boxes that were chained together. That they were looking down there with that sonar, and I've forgotten that guy's name that has that not sonar, but that
Radar.
Yeah, it's kind of like radar, but I forget what he called it. It goes around in a circle and it looks and it does a scan of the sea bottom down there, looking for anomalies. And again, like he mentioned, that nature doesn't make things in squares or rectangles. Now there's that one anomaly they found the second time they sent it down, and it picked out this one square looking object that they're gonna need to dive on it and find out what's there. But the first one they put down, there was a lot of rocks, and they were right in the area off the island and the lighthouse there, where if you tried to run an anchor down there and grab something off the bottom, digital scanner, maybe, yeah, maybe, you're gonna hook a rock. I would think you're gonna hook one of them rocks. So I would think, but again, on the ship, are they going to know what's down there? But they're going to want to have some sort of a marker. But looking at that lighthouse, I don't know if that lighthouse probably wasn't there when they did it, but I don't remember. I don't recall.
The lighthouse was automated in 1957 or something like that. They said on the show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think there's something there? Do you think they should? But there is a lot of shipwrecks in the Great Lakes, and I know Lake Superior is one. And I've heard a lot of stories about ships that have sank in Lake Superior just simply because of the way the lidar. No, I don't think it was lidar. I don't think so. Digital scanner. Um, hmm. But I don't know. What did you guys think about that? Maybe have to get permits, yeah, to go down there and get a look. You're probably right. But they got to go look, and I'd like to see him. And Marty said this when he was he was actually standing on the shore when he said this, but he said, "I don't think you were out here for one day. And what can you expect to find looking in one day?" And I'm hoping that they're spending more time looking rather than just that one day. I know Marty probably didn't, but if it's something of that significance, and they know generally the area it was in, give it
But
a couple
GPS,
weeks.
didn't they GPS that area, if I remember correctly?
They did. They did mark it. That when they found that one box type anomaly underwater, they did mark it with the GPS, so they know where it's at, and they can go back
That's
and have
what they
another.
would be on. I wish they would go back every once in a while and say, "Hey, look, what have you done?" Like when we had Christian Roper on, it was nice to know what he
Yeah,
had looked at and everything else.
right. You're exactly right. And when he gets his documentary done, I'm going to have him back. He and I have been talking about that. He's coming back on for us because his stuff is fascinating. I'm just so fascinated by all that. Lafitte. Um, so I am enjoying the show. I really am enjoying watching Beyond Oak Island. It is a good show, and I want to. And I know I think we're about done with it. I think there wasn't there only about 8 episodes.
8 episodes, if I remember correctly, Jeff.
Mhm. Yeah. So I know we're about done with that for the season, but I was very interested in the one last night. It was very interesting. Yeah, lidar is from the air. It was, I think, a digital laser. I'm gonna have to find out now. That's really bugging me now that I don't know what that was called.
I
Uh,
really like the one from the week before in Utah. That one kind of interested me too.
yeah, is that the one where they went out? Maddie Blake was out there and they were looking.
The car kept going by and everything
Yeah,
else.
and that's kind of that made me laugh. I'm sorry, but I had to laugh at that because I'm thinking if I'm a local that lived in that general area. Now that was kind of out away from where things are normally at. There's no houses out there and that kind of stuff or anything real close by. But they talked about that truck that went by. Now let me ask you this, members: if you're driving by in your truck and you're just out having whatever, enjoying the day or whatever, and you drive by and you see three people with a couple of cameras and and some crew standing up here, what, 200 feet off the road? Was it 200 or 300 feet off the road? And they're standing around looking at these rocks, and they got camera people out there, probably a microphone guy out there, and three people standing around looking at something. Are you going to turn around and go back by? Yeah, I'm going to. I'm like, what are they doing over there? So they're like, oh, look at that truck. I was driving. I'm thinking, man, if I was a guy in that truck, I'd be driving by again. I want to see what you guys are doing over there. I don't know. Just something that occurred to me. But that was a good show. And I do want what was her name? Holly.
Yes, Holly
Yeah.
Ham.
Yeah, that is interesting stuff that they were doing out there. And they were talking about that had to do with Jesse
Jesse James.
Jesse James. Now, did you know anything like that about Jesse James? What do you guys think? Did you know anything like that about Jesse James, that he had something to do with I'm trying to remember what he was talking about now. He was leading something having to do over there, and I was never.
Confederate. Oh,
Yeah, I
God.
don't remember. Uh yeah, you can. Linda says you can drive hours in Utah and never see a house or another soul. And
I
then you
read
see a bunch of guys with cameras and stuff out there. I'm gonna go back by again. Yeah,
Holly
Holly.
Graves and Warren Ginter, if
Get
I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
Warren Kettler. Yeah, I'm gonna have to reach out to them too because I want to get more information on this. I'd love to see if they will come. Knights of the Golden Circle. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Jan.
Yep, Knights of the Golden Circle. Yeah, so he was involved in that, and that's just intriguing to me. I need to find out more about that too. So I'm going to see about reaching out. We're going to make an attempt to reach out to Holly and Warren and see if we can't get them to come on and talk. A Confederate of the Golden Circle. Yeah, exactly. What'd you guys think about that whole thing? I'm curious. Yeah, that was too crazy. Never heard of JJ doing anything like that.
It was kind of interesting the way he turned his name around, the initials around too, to make a
Yeah,
W.
yeah, the backward, the front and
Jay.
back of the Jays. I never knew that either. I thought that was kind of at first I was thinking, man, that's quite a stretch. But then I got thinking, but that'd be a great way to do your brand. I mean, I have a brand that I've made up. But yeah, the having those two J's like that. Get Maddie Blake on. I would love to get Maddie Blake on.
Oh,
I had actually reached out to Maddie. This was a few months ago. Reached out to Maddie and talked to him. That guy right there is probably, I don't know. I'm not going to say never, but hard. Let's just say hard to get him on. There are some people that are. Linda has the right name for it. They have a like an agent that you have to go through.
performance contract or
So, and they're covered under so many NDAs and contracts and stuff. It's not impossible because Maddie has been on, he's been on some shows before. So, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it is, I'll keep working on that. There's some other people that we're working on too, that we're trying to see if we can't somehow figure out how to get on, but we'll work on that as well. Let's see. We're getting close to 2 hours here, and I'm going to wrap it up pretty quick. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about? We stumbled on, Don Brent says, we stumbled on one of his hideouts when we were geocaching a few years ago. Where's that at, Don? Where was this? And when you say one of his hideouts, is Jesse James hideouts? I'd like to hear more about that. Don, we're going to have to get you on the show one of these days. You're going to have to come on with me, and we're going to have to talk. You got some stuff that I'd like to, and I put that out to you guys. I've said that before when we first got started, that, on a regular Wednesday night like this, I'm going to try to do most of our big interviews. I'm going to probably do on Saturdays, just simply because we want to be able to talk Oak Island on Wednesday night and beyond Oak Island on Wednesday night. And I think when we have a guest on, it kind of takes away from us being able to discuss what took place on the night before. So I'm gonna try to pick a day for having the guest on. We got a really cool one coming up on the 9th of January. That's really going to be cool. I'm going to have 3 guests in here with me, all talking about the same thing. I'm really looking forward to that one. That's going to be on a Saturday at 2:00 on the 9th. Anyway, but I want to do that kind of thing on a different night than we do this talk, our Oak Island talk, because it just takes away from the show. Let's see. South of Lawrence, Kansas. Don says south of Lawrence, Kansas. Yes, I told you must call in, Don. I know that JJ areas. Area south of Lawrence. Oh, okay. See, that's getting around Linda's stomping ground over that way. Did you say Mason? Let's see. Yeah, that's why we need to have Holly and Warren on. You're exactly right. I want to get more of that information. Let's see. Jennifer says, I used to work at in a town whose bank was robbed by Jesse James. It's still a bank. Interesting. Jesse James hit a lot of mason jars with gold coins in them to pay his men. Wouldn't that be something to come across one of those? That would be interesting, huh? Let's see. We need to read. I didn't know Warren Gettler had a book. I would have guessed so. Yeah, that's interesting. Been to his family's home in Kearney, Missouri. Interesting.
Yeah, so he had a brother too.
I'm sorry?
He had a brother also.
Jesse James?
Yes.
Frank James.
Frank
Was it
James.
Frank? Frank James. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I do remember that now. Now that you mention that. That's really, yeah. And Frank wanted to get out of it. Didn't he want to just go and homestead and get out of he wanted to be a regular guy and a family man or something? I thought I remember it been one of the stories I thought I remember something about
You're
that.
right there, Jeff.
He wanted to get out of being a bank robber and go on and just be a regular guy and have a simple life, and he couldn't get away from it. Frank James. Yeah, Don, thanks.
Thank you, Don.
Yep. Anything else you guys want to talk about? And we'll go back and we'll discuss, I'll pick up some more stuff about the Beyond Oak Island, and we'll go back and review. There's just been so much happening with Curse of Oak Island that I've kind of kept my my focus on that lately, even though we are beyond also, and also venturing into things that are not. Maybe we'll have to pick a second night, I guess, because I get kind of windy, ratchet jaw talking about Oak Island so much. But there's just so much to talk about on the show, you know what I mean? And then we get to a couple hours in, and it's like, man, we didn't talk about Beyond again tonight, but I do want to do that. Warren Getler's book is called Rebel Gold. Rebel Gold. I'm going to write that down.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Rebel Gold. All right, I'm going to check that out. Thank you. All right, I'm definitely going to check that out. Yes, Happy New Year to all of you folks out there. And again, I want to say it again. Thank you so much. We got over 500 members now, 508 members, and I'm just ecstatic about that. It has gone beyond my wildest dreams to have this many people. And something that Jack and I and Linda have talked about. There's some of the groups out there that have 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people. I really don't want this group to get to be that big, simply because I love the interaction with everybody. I mean, how many of those people, when you get a group that big, how many of those people are actually participating in the discussion of the show that you're about? I can only imagine that just a handful of those people are even involved in discussing it and talking about ideas and coming on live shows like this one here and talking with me about this kind of stuff, or us about this. That's the thing. And I'm so happy to have, 500 people is great. It's a mark that I didn't think we'd reach this quickly, but I'm happy about that. But let's keep it family. Let's keep it clean. Let's keep it friendly. And let's have a good discussion about these shows that we enjoy watching so much. That's what this is all about. And I really, really appreciate all of you. And I really hope that all of you had a good Christmas. I know we just got through with Christmas. And even though we didn't get to spend it all with family and friends like we, had want to, I did get to spend with my little bit of family, not the big family like we'd normally do, but that was we still had a pretty good time. But I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. And I hope that we have an absolutely fantastic 2021.
A much better 2021 than 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. There was some heartbreak, I know, for me personally in 2020. I lost my mom this year, right halfway in January or in July. I lost my mom this year. So a lot to think about for 2020, but some good things too, like this group. I got started in this, doing this kind of thing, and I really, really enjoy it. So 2020 wasn't all bad for me, at least. And but I really thank you, Jennifer.
It's fortunate to work with you and Linda. It's been a real pleasure.
I've made 500 great friends. I really have. And Jack and Linda and Jan, thank you so much. But I really want to wish you all a very happy New Year. And I hope you have a good time. Be careful if you go out anywhere tomorrow night. Of course, I don't think that'll be that many people out and about tomorrow night. Or is that tomorrow night? Yeah, tomorrow night. But just be careful. And I just hope that everybody has a great New Year. I really do. What do you think, Jack? Anything else you want to say?
No, let's put a wrap on it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, folks, again, for being here tonight. I really appreciate you all very, very much.
Please.
And again, Linda, thank you so much for all that you do. You basically are the backbone of this group. You keep things running and putting posts out there and everything. I just love it. And it's just fantastic. And I appreciate it. And Jan, thank you again so much for your synopsis. You do a fantastic job, and we really appreciate you. And Jack, love having you on the show with me. You've become my co-host and my friend, and I appreciate it very much, sir.
Oh, same here. I've learned with you, working with you, Linda's been a real pleasure.
It really has. I know. We get to talk. We talk every day. The three of us are talking every single day.
We work together every day. We become friends. That's even better.
Wake up in the morning and there's always something. We woke up this morning. There was 15 new members waiting for approval this morning. That's just crazy. I'm like, what? I looked at it. I was like, 15 new members. I said, boy, Linda's going to be busy. And she was. Anyway, thank you all so much. Have a great evening. Have a great New Year. And we'll see you again next Wednesday night. All right. Good night, everybody.